Yeah, so we're in the middle of a pretty tough stretch, 3 straight top 10 teams, and it's the first time in, shoot, I don't know, for we've done, what was it, was it 2 years ago? We played, Baylor, Auburn, Kentucky. So we've got, yeah, it's the first time in non-conference. That was the other time we had a conference game, right? So look, like we're in the middle of a tough stretch. The Purdue loss obviously stung a little bit, but they're a good team, and I thought we played our best basketball of the year against Purdue. We just, they're really good, and we weren't quite good enough to beat them. So we've been telling our guys that we're close, we're right there. We've got to, look at the metrics, like we're efficiency numbers, offense, defense, the whole thing combined. Like we're right in there, top 10, some places top 25, but you got to do things to actually win the games. Like our resume is not a top 25 team right now. We're 6-3, and we got 3 losses against good teams that we played tough, but we got to figure out ways to win the games. So right now we're not figuring out ways to win the games when we need to. So that's been our biggest talking points, is we got to figure out how to win some of these close games for him. So, offensively we've been good. Defensively is where our biggest issue was. Guarding Creighton, they take, somewhere else they take a lot of threes. I think they're second in the country right now. They make over 12 threes a game. So, they get them in similar ways to us. They get them in some different ways than us, but we've got to do a great job guarding the 3-point line. Second game in a row, there's a 7-footer on the other side that's good inside. He's obviously not as big as Edie, but he's pretty good in his own regard. So we've got to figure out, I thought last game, our guys messed up some of the coverages. We were supposed to double off certain guys, not off certain ones, and they came off the wrong guys, gave up threes. We can't do this game. Kalkbrenner's good. He's tough to guard one-on-one in there. We can't give him threes off as much as possible as some of the better shooters. So our guys got to be locked into what we're doing to guard the 3-point line, and then we got to rebound the ball a little bit better. They're a pretty good rebounding team. We've got to be a better rebounding team on defense. But I think we're close to where we need to be, and this is a quality team, and I like playing good teams to figure out how good we are compared to the best in the country, and we're going to find that out here Saturday, and we're going to get Creighton's best, in my opinion. We had it with Purdue, just lost to Northwestern. I felt like we got Purdue's best game of the year. Creighton's just lost to UNLV. I'm sure they've got some very locked in, focused practices here since the UNLV game, and I think we'll probably get Creighton's best effort, which is fine. It'll make us even better in the long run.
Start with Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the Purdue game. Just what do you think of the team's effort and physicality last time out?
You know what? I thought our effort was great. I didn't think our effort was the issue. It was more execution, following the scouting report. Our physicality, I thought we obviously were too physical because we had a lot of fouls called on us. So I don't think the issue was with effort and physicality. I thought it was with the execution. And I tell the team we got to be both. You can't just play hard. You got to play hard and execute. You got to use your IQ. You can't just play hard.
Tony.
What do you remember about going against Baylor Shield? Sorry, Mr. Shireman last 2 years ago?
He was at South Dakota State. Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he's their leading scorer there at Creighton. I mean, when he went in the portal, we tried to get involved. We didn't have much luck. He can shoot it. He's physical. I think his body's in better shape there at Creighton. He's good. I mean, when we played him at South Dakota State, different personnel around him, but he was very talented there as well. But he's gotten better since he left there.
Chase.
Does Estrada being a lefty, is that just something that gives the other team's defense a little bit of a different look, or does that actually impact the way you try to play with him?
I mean, we've got 2 tough left-handed guards in Sears and Estrada both, so I think, teams aren't as used to guarding lefties. There's not as many of them. We will try to run certain things to get them going to the left hand more than to the right hand. But, you know, I also think both those guys are pretty solid going right. There's some guys that can't go to their weak hand really at all. Both those guys have been pretty good going to their right hand. So while we will try to run more stuff to get them to the little left, I think they're more than capable of getting downhill, going to the right, making the passes going right. But I do think it puts a little bit different kind of pressure on the defense because they're not used to guarding lefties. And when we had two of them in the starting lineup, and Sears and Estrada both, you know, maybe they got everything geared out. It's nice we got right, so we can play some one and come in and play right-handed, so they can't just tilt everything and guard lefties. They gotta try to, for Sears and Estrada, they may want to do it this way. For right, so they might want to do it this way. But you know, it is different covering lefties. We get the privilege of covering them every day in practice. So,
Charlie.
When you're watching film, do you see any similarities, or did you see any similarities in Creighton's losses to Colorado State and UNLV?
yeah, I thought Colorado State and UNLV both did a pretty good job, you know, turning them into drivers, not letting them get threes off. You know, I thought they both had some physicality on the perimeter that they didn't handle well. You know, and to be honest with you, they both made some tough shots too. Like sometimes, you know, and I'm not in Creighton's locker room. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but they didn't play their best games in those two games either. So sometimes it's what you're doing yourself, and sometimes it's what the opponent's doing. It looked to me like there might have been a little bit of both of that. You know, I don't think we're going to have the benefit of Creighton not playing their best game after going on a loss to UNLV. So, you know, I don't know what the final situation is. We're in finals this week. Tends to get a little funky with practice. Guys are out of their routines a little bit and all that. So I can't speak to that, but I do think UNLV and Colorado State both did a good job getting them off the three-point line and did a pretty good job hitting some tough shots on them.
Katie.
Obviously, the last game was a more pro-Purdue crowd. This being the first true road game, is there anything different this week in preparation? You're kind of leaning on the guys that have played some of the tougher environments like at Houston last year?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge win at Houston. Showed how tough we were mentally. I think we'll see today. Obviously, like you said, Toronto was definitely a pro-Purdue crowd with Edie being from Toronto, but it wasn't sold out, packed. All Purdue wasn't in, you know, we're going to be at Creighton. I guess it's going to be a sellout. They do a great job with their support there. I mean, they sell out about every home game, I think, you know. So I think Coach McDermott's, I believe, 109 in non-conference home games since he's been there. So he doesn't lose very often at home, and he's really got this thing rolling out. You know, it took him a few years to get it up and running like he had it, you know, but he's a great coach. He's done a good job. They're going to have great crowd support. Latrell Reitzel's actually coming back home. He's from Omaha, which will be nice to get him back home. You know, they'll be cheering for Creighton, most from there, but he'll have some fans in the stands. I think it's the first time he's been in college 4 years now. I think it's the first time he's played back home in Nebraska. So it'll be good for him. Hopefully we can get him going.
A few more. Tony.
Does it help when you're playing a team kind of like does the same stuff as you? Like they like to shoot a lot of threes. They don't like to do the mid-range stuff. Like
Yeah, like when we guard them, it's similar to, you know, we don't have to necessarily have a scout team. We can run a lot of the stuff we run that now they run more post-ups for Kalkbrenner, but yes, they are trying to get threes. They're not playing super slow. They're playing with some pace. Not quite as fast as us, but faster than most teams we're used to playing. And so I think it helps us to know how we want to guard them, but then we got to, you know, we got to figure out what we're going to do in the post when they throw them to Kalkbrenner, because it is a little different than us.
Anyone else? Awesome. Thanks, Coach.